Hey.
Live. Hi.
Good,
Hello,
good
hello.
evening.
We're live.
It feels like it's been a minute, but really, even though
Yes.
it's been over a month since I did my last episode, you guys did an episode while I was away.
We did with
Yeah.
Abigail.
We
Mhm.
managed to meet and we had a co-host. Very nice, actually.
And we have
I
matching pens, right?
Yeah.
Kari?
So today, we were kind of pre-chatting about experiences from the past about Chicago and Alexandra's trip there to Chicago. And then I will talk a little bit more to the future because this weekend is Montreal Pen Show and I have some products that are going to be attending our small pen show, and I would like actually to talk a little bit more about
So
this.
is it going to be the very first one? First Montreal? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you?
Well, New York.
With you.
Oh, yeah, which you. I decided it's my turn. The New York Pen Show, which was a big discussion at Chicago, because all the vendors and a whole bunch of other people got little invite cards. That's officially gone public, and so that should be fun. The only downside is that it's Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada. So
We have to make an effort.
we'll have to see how that plays out.
A 1.5 day trip and back, maybe.
Maybe, but like it's a pen show sponsored by Gold Spot.
Oh, very nice.
I'm excited to see how it goes. I might break my I don't go to shows the first year they happen rule for this show. We'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't seen. I haven't been to any pen show per se in New York. I went to the Brooklyn Stationery Fest, and I know there is the Rhode Island group that organized a little bit of a kind of a close to New York pen show. So this one, I would love to go because it's not so far from us going to New York.
No, and it really isn't, and it's under new management. It hasn't happened for the past couple of years, and it's now under new management. Seems to be partially run by the same team that runs the California Pen Show.
Oh, very nice.
Because Frank's involved, and so it should be quite fun.
Very nice. I like the idea. I am excited already. I don't know if I will be able to go because now that you mentioned it's a Thanksgiving weekend, we always have plans for that weekend.
You push Thanksgiving a week.
And we celebrate another.
You celebrate another week. It's, you're just making it easy on everybody else who has to go to other sets of in-laws.
Exactly.
We don't want Thanksgiving weekend. We want the weekend after or before. It makes your weekend easy.
That's good. That's
Life
really
hacks.
good.
Life hacks.
Life hacks. All right. So what do you have on your desk? Let's start like
well,
this.
we haven't talked to Marina yet. We've skipped Marina.
I always crash. Sorry.
I don't know. Lots going on. Tired. But mostly good stuff.
San Francisco's only 3 months away?
Yeah, it's actually, if you think about that, the summer is gonna fly by.
It is. And there are so many pen shows in the next little stretch.
Right.
I always feel bad for the vendors in the stretch from like July through September.
Yeah.
Because it's almost every weekend.
Yeah, starting in August and going on and on and on.
Yeah, no, because that's going to be, we talked to Abigail, so her pen show, the Orlando, is like 2 weeks after San Francisco.
And then Boston and Dallas are happening the same weekend at the end of the month.
That's crazy.
And then it's, I want to say it's Colorado.
Yeah.
I think it's Colorado, New York. I'm missing one, and then it's Scriptus.
Yeah. Scriptus is in October, and
Yeah.
there is Ohio right after. So Ohio Pen Show comes right after Toronto,
Yep.
and yeah,
And Detroit, it's Detroit, and then
yeah,
Scriptus. It's a busy stretch of time for the next couple months.
yeah.
Yeah. So we are doing what, 1 or 2 more shows ourselves, right? And then we're taking a bit of a break.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
I am like excited to take vacation from work and relax a little bit, go back to my reading and writing and getting creative. It's been like a hectic couple of months lately.
So is school done? Like, is everything
School
at it?
actually it's going to be done next week. And then we get into summer vacation, which is not like a 100% vacation because I like to do workshops and do some professional development. But for me, it's vacation, going to teach and doing things for myself. I love it. And having fun getting to some of the pen shows, which I adore.
I think I treat it the same way. Like I've been doing 13, 14-hour days since I got home from Chicago to edit Chicago stuff, but also start to edit the fall season of 20 Questions because I desperately want to be able to take a couple weeks off this summer and not have to be editing. I said this last year. I did not do well at this last year. I did live streams from the lake last year. Like I was awful at this last year. And I want to be slightly better at this year. Maybe.
Yeah, it's a little bit of unplugging for sometimes. When I go up north, we don't have internet connection up north. We try to go to the mountainside, so we don't have, and we get at least a full 3-4 days of digital situation. Well, it's not like completely zero, but we try to avoid as much as we can. I am not able to control myself, and I need to check. But
no, like I had one bar and was still live streaming unboxing things from the Atlas Sidewalk sale because I wanted to play with the fun things.
Oh, that was good. We had Celia saying that it's happy about the announcement. I think it is about the New York announcement.
The New York Pen Show. Yeah, because she's local-ish to the New York area.
Very nice.
I was actually sad it was not the old location because that was very close to where my husband's family lives. So could visit them and can go there.
Yeah, no, I like the idea that unlike Stationery Fest, it's being hosted in a hotel like most of the pen shows we see. I find that those shows tend to be more fun because we get to spend time after hours together. If there are lines, they're happening inside the hotels, which is always nicer than standing outside in the rain. And so I'm very interested to see how they managed to pull it off this year.
Yes, that's nice.
Yeah, the old ones used to be at the Hofstra University, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I believe this year it's at a Hyatt. I think it's at a Hyatt.
Yeah, and I think aren't they splitting? Like it's mostly Manhattan and something else. I don't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to figure out the logistic and the date because if I need to book something in New York, it's not that easy. You need to get something close to the venue or the hotel.
Yeah.
Is it? Do you have any idea if there is a price for the hotel? Like, for example, DC Pen Show get a special price for during the DC Pen Show.
I am looking right now.
It's
a Hilton. It's the Hilton Midtown.
Hilton
Midtown, good place. I was hoping for Portland discount as well on the hotel, but I didn't see any. because they have special prices, you know, when you go. And San Francisco was good price. So
and you're already booked for San Francisco.
Yeah, I booked the San Francisco. Yeah, so I can be there pretty early.
That's good. Yeah, here this weekend we have only one day. It's a full day of, I would say, coming into the venue and clearing after. It's a free venue, so it's done in a very antique centennial church. So the venue is beautiful. It's really in the heart of Montreal. Very beautiful area, full of restaurants and popular spots, and the old church right there. It's going to be hectic, but at the same time, I don't know. There is no hotel close there, and well, there are many hotels, but there is no hotel for the pen vendors. It's everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a room rate for the Empire Pen Show, and it is $319 a night.
For Manhattan, it's probably
for Manhattan.
Yeah.
And it's like 3 blocks from Central Park. So it's actually really nice.
Very good for location.
Yeah.
Yeah. For New York, I think it's a doable price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially considering that you're in the middle of the city, you have access to all the beauty of Manhattan, and
you can have your after hours anywhere.
Exactly. And it's being sponsored by, currently the title sponsors are Robert Oster, Goldspot, and Leuchtturm.
Ooh,
so they've got some fun sponsors.
Yeah. Okay, so I need to see a little bit more about that show. The next topic on our intro is, what do we have on our desks? Let's see.
Something. You want to start? How many do you have? Because I only have one.
I actually have some of the products that
I have too many.
Yeah, I don't have
so
to.
You start then. You
Me start? Okay. Yes. So you've seen this in a bunch of things already. This is my Galen Leather A5 Slip and Zip Expansifolio. It arrived just before I left for Chicago, and it was the best thing ever. And while I was at Chicago, I said, you know what? The only thing that would make this better is if they did an A4 or a legal sized version. And guess what they posted on their Instagram story this morning?
They do
an
have
A4 version of this that's in testing that also has a shoulder strap.
Oh, very nice. So you can
I'm obsessed. Because this thing
what I need.
I only carried 3 pen cases at the show. I carried this. I carried my Galen Leather Slip and Zip, which was the quote-unquote problem child pen case. That was like the pens that I had issues that I needed fixed. When in those pen cases, it floated to all the different nib grinders. It just like was my floating pen case. But I know what it looks like, so I wasn't going to lose it. And then I had an Esterbrook pen roll for pens I was borrowing from brands, for things like the pictures I took with the Heinz pens, where I do not own those pens. I did not want to damage those pens. And so they went into a plush pen roll. But this was my everyday carry pen case at the show, which holds, I currently have 3 pens in it. It holds 6 pens over here. And much like the Slip and Zip, this card comes out. Yeah. And then you've got all this space. So I, during the show, was throwing random stuff up here. But it also fits a paper pad.
Oh, yes.
And I currently have the MD block in here, which is glued on 2 sides, but you can split this side so that you can slide it in. And then I also have an IKEA phone stand. These are 46 cents. They're great, both as pen rests and as phone stands.
Yay.
But the pens, because that's all we really care about. Also, I'm continuing to only buy Galen leather in gray and navy. I will continue to do that for all time. I love the navy. I do also love the gray. The gray has some big tonal variations between batches, though, and I'm not a huge fan of the current run of gray. So, navy.
Navy is good.
Navy. The pen that was the whole reason I got to go to Chicago this year, the Colotino. It's great. You've probably seen a whole bunch of PR on it the past couple days as people unbox their Chicago stuff. I have owned mine since February. The video I filmed on mine, I filmed in February when we had 7 feet of snow. It's great. I really like it. I did see a comment over on Lori's page about if you hate the Lamy grip, this will be worse than the Lamy grip. Because the grip section is round, as long as you're actually holding on the grip section, it isn't. Also because like the flat sides sit between your fingers of the point of the triangle. I hate the Lamy grip and find this quite nice to write with.
Yeah. I like the size of that pen. I like the feel of the clip. Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I have almost shown this pen far too many times on Desk Chatter because I've been doing this underneath my desk while we filmed since the beginning of February. And so I've had to be very careful with my hand motions.
So you don't see it before.
I am here.
So my question is, so your specific one has been like a new release, right? Your colorway and your material specifically, right? Yeah, because I was like, I am more than sure that I held this pen, but in green, like a year ago at Top Drawer.
So Top Drawer, like soft launched them. They're produced by a company out of, I screw this up, but that's why we have our little notes. The Czech Republic.
Yeah.
And Austria. And Top Drawer like sort of soft launched them, but we're doing them in really limited colors and everything. And then they made the decision that they were going to launch to retailers. They decided to do that through Sam Pro, who also currently represents Sailor in the US, as well as a whole bunch of other art supply brands. But they made the decision to launch in, I believe, currently 5 retailers. I believe they're in Pen Chalet, Dromgoals, Goulet, Atlas, and Jenny Bick in Washington. Those are our 5 right now. So I've been daily driving this since February and I quite like it. So I should actually film like a follow-up video, but it feels weird to film a follow-up video when the actual video's only been out for a couple weeks. But in reality,
it's been since February.
Exactly. I've had the pen for months. Pen number 2 is Annabelle. I don't know that you can actually see it on camera. Turned my Decimo into an architect.
Oh, fantastic.
And
I love Annabelle.
I love Annabelle too. There was a lot of great Annabelle content at the show because what day was it? There were 2 separate occasions that I got really peopled out and ended up at one point crawling underneath Annabelle's table and sitting behind her chair so that no one could see that I existed because I just didn't want anyone to talk to me. And then day 2, so Friday, I hadn't sat down all day. Mom was having her nib appointment and Annabelle went, "Do you want to just sit down?" And so once again, I crawled under Annabelle's table. I sat on the floor beside Annabelle. And then I fed Annabelle snacks because Annabelle had not had food all day. And so it was a great time. We had a great time, to the extent that when Drew saw me Saturday, Drew went at 3:00. He was like, okay, we're sitting behind Annabelle's table today. And I'm like, I haven't yet. And Drew actually checked to make sure I was okay, because I hadn't sat on the floor behind Annabelle's table yet. I hadn't been done with people. And was I actually okay?
So that's your
The
story.
third, and that is my story. The third and final pen is from Michaela over at White Bear. And this is a pen that she made with Luke's Pink Pony Club blank.
Ah, that's so pretty.
Okay, I'll find mine. Just a sec.
This was the only
Michaela
hand-turned pen I knew
I want to have pens from those people.
Yeah, they're sweet.
This was the only hand-turned pen I knew I was coming home with from the get-go. I've known that
very nice.
I sent her a Luke blank for this. I knew this was coming home with me. And what she's ended up doing is setting the clip lower and reinforcing it so it has no movement at all. And so it shouldn't break the cap, which is sometimes an issue with acrylic pens and resin pens if you're using them to unscrew the cap, which I have to. And so she has prototyped this design for me, and I'm sort of testing it out for the next little bit, which is super fun. But this was the only hand-turned pen I knew I was coming home with. I picked it up Friday. It was in my rickshaw all weekend. I will say it is not the only hand-turned pen I came home with, but you will have to wait for Wednesday's video to find out what else I came home with, because they're pretty fabulous.
Amazing. Very nice.
Yeah. Sorry, I was looking for it. One of my pens kind of rolled away, so that's why you have to
Oh, go look.
No, it's fine. All right. So I'll do Handmade today. So no clip, but favorite pen is from Rob.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
I love that pen. And so he recently found another blank, like another bits of ebonite that this one is made of. And he's like, you want more? So basically this is an interchangeable part that goes. I have another one. I don't have it on here, but I can replace this with a kakimori nib. So, so that's what he does.
Now
are you gonna get a replaceable X-Acto blade for it?
I was thinking about it because he's like, I have that other blank. Do you want anything? So it's like, I'm thinking I might, that would be fun. And this is really fun because this is like a almost perfect picture. Yeah, it's like a little, like a flower.
Yeah, I love Rob's pens. I finally filmed with I guess it's been seen a bunch on camera, but I finally filmed its own video with my custom pen he made because we finally had a sunny day, as Marina knows. Marina got a selfie of me out in the sun. But we finally had a sunny day where I could be outside and show off how sparkly that blank is and the color shift, because you just don't see it inside.
Exactly. Sometimes the turned pens, they have such a beautiful resin that you cannot appreciate in any camera. You have to see it in person.
And that is very much this
light
pen. It just doesn't. It's absolutely stunning, and it does not photograph particularly well, which is so sad because it's so pretty.
Yeah.
All right, and my second one is Michaela's.
Michaela.
Well, it was her last year's San Francisco pen show pen, which I appreciate because she let me get it without going to the show. Yeah. And I have a little thing that is kind of my summer colors. This is not by me, but these are watercolors made by a maker that doesn't make anymore. They're from Netherlands. And so this person doesn't make paints anymore, but I keep this for like this kind of like summer, spring,
very nice
feeling.
I like that your Michaela pen you bought when you didn't make it to San Francisco, and I bought mine on, I want to say was she there Thursday? Like literally the second Michaela showed up,
you got your pen.
I got my pen. And she had made two. She wasn't, there was one that was more pink. She had made two. And I also, the second pen did not make it onto Michaela's table. It was sold before, okay, so it was Thursday because she wasn't set up to take payments. It was sold before, like I decided which one I wanted and then somebody bought the other one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I was so surprised. I was lucky because like somehow she still had this pen and I was planning on going, I think it was Saturday, which is like by that point she actually had quite a few pens sold out at this point.
Oh.
Yeah, because she doesn't make a lot of them and it takes her a while. She's very methodical and it's just like pure luck.
Yeah. That's so nice. I need a pen from Michaela. I need a pen from Abigail. You, Marina, are expanding the lab for these two creators and saving a little bit of money. Marcos is asking about if somebody's planning to go to Atlas Sidewalk sale.
The Atlas Sidewalk sale. I love the Atlas Sidewalk sale. It is one of my favorite pen events of the year. I don't know that I'll be going this year, but I hopefully will be. It's a really fun event. It is much more, and I described it this way last year, it's much more family block party than pen show. And so as long as you get great deals, and as long as you go in with like the mindset of everyone's going to be pretty casual. You're going to get a whole bunch of, lots of brands give out samples. You're going to get to test a whole bunch of stuff. It's, again, much more family block party. It's not the craziness of a pen show like Chicago or DC or San Francisco. It's a whole bunch of pen people getting together and just sort of having a good time. And it just so happens that Atlas is hosting and you can buy pens there and people are hosting workshops.
Oh, very nice.
But it's got a much more relaxed vibe than any of the other pen shows.
Yeah, I feel like what you're describing is similar to what is going to happen here, which is very, very family and really small situation compared to other pen shows. But to start,
like I think last year's had a very different vibe because it absolutely bucketed day one to the extent like the sidewalks flooded, people were standing on chairs. We all had a certain level of misery, but we were miserable together, and so it was a good time. Whereas day two was much more like, oh, we're all hanging out, we're talking about pens, and it's always fun. And you never know what the vendors are going to bring. I saw so many prototypes last year that I'd heard about and never seen in person that were there for sale. It is just, it's a really fun show because I feel like you see pens that are like, maybe we only have 2 or 3 of these left in the office and we don't want to send them out to vendors or list them on the website. So we're going to bring them with us in a case. Yeah. That is how this sort of show feels.
Yeah, I'd like to go. This is not the first time I'm being asked. Actually, in the last week, I got like I think at least 2 questions if I'm going to be there. So the thing is with me, I'd love to go, but we're currently like our changes in our family is that it looks like our East Coast family is moving to California. So I might not like unless I have any business to go to East Coast, I might not be like just able to. So that's
fair enough. Apparently Atlas had some Pelicans go on sale today, and this brings up an interesting topic because Atlas released, I believe it was yesterday, the full list of brands that were about to experience price increases due to the tariffs.
Yeah.
But they didn't release amounts. So nobody's quite sure of the amounts for some brands. And I would say that if you've been looking at something and you have the ability to purchase it before, without stretching your budget, putting yourself into financial hardships, because no one knows how much the price increase is going to be, I would say I'm hearing some really big number gaps with no real concrete numbers. And so if you have been looking at something and you can afford to get it, and you will be upset if it goes up in price significantly, now might be the time to consider getting it.
And then, we always say that, or I can hear people say that a lot, but this time it's different. It's really not a drill. Like, stuff is going up quite a bit. Right?
Like we're looking at a 30% increase on Rhodia paper. And
it's a lot for a paper.
That's huge.
That's huge on inks and paper. I am hearing numbers higher than that for some brands. But we're just going to have to see how it plays out. Some things are as small as 5 or 10%. I would say the smallest I've actually seen go up in price significantly is 10%. And people have asked the question, like, why did they absorb the cost for a couple weeks and then pass it on? This was a question in the Atlas Discord. The margins in the pen world are done in such a way that 10% is manageable, 20% is a stretch. Anything more than 20%, brands are losing money on every sale. And so they were able to eat it for a couple weeks while people sort of figured out what their new prices were going to be. But now we're seeing those new prices start to roll out, and we just don't know where things are going to land.
What happened is that most of the materials come from overseas. So there is already an increase on shipping. There is already an increase on the price of the products that come from other side. And then now...
most of the fountain pens themselves are made overseas.
Yeah, I would say most of the increases we're seeing right now are from the conversations that I know and have been around and been part of. Any of the big ones coming in the next couple of weeks are all because of import tariffs.
Yeah. Deb says,
Pelican or Mont Blanc. I would say it really depends on the pen you're looking at. I like a vintage Mont Blanc nib more than a modern Pelican nib. But I don't know that I like a modern Mont Blanc nib as much as I like a modern Pelican nib. And that's a complicated answer.
They're asking about Monarch. The Sean
design. Oh, Monarch. Oh, get a Monarch.
Yeah, I have not tried it. I've heard great things and I've heard odd things because I think some people are thinking they're gonna have something very flex, but they're not getting flex, and then other people who are like not have that expectation actually feel that they love it.
Can you tell how tired I am? Get a Monarch, try it in person because every Monarch writes differently. And there are big feed differences in some Monarchs versus others. Aziza just talked about this in one of her Chicago recap videos where she ended up buying a friend's Monarch nib from them, and they ended up getting a whole new Monarch nib because it was too wet for them and they wanted a drier Monarch.
Everybody has a different taste in writing anyway. So exactly. I think the idea of having so many brands that everybody can find their treasure in many different brands, you just need to start trying it.
And Ian, the nice thing about Ian's nibs is that they work in so many other pens. I want to say somebody's going to have to fact check me on this. I want to say they fit in pens that take a Yovo 6.
Yeah, I've seen people place them.
Which means that becomes a really versatile nib for your pen collection. If you've got Yovo 6 pens, if you've got Esterbrook's, if you've got Monteverde pens, if you've got most of the hand-turned pens or Yovo 6s. And so I would always go for something that's going to make my pen collection more versatile, especially if I'm debating between something that makes my pen collection more versatile or a single pen.
Especially now. And I feel like coming back to this kind of thinking about price increases and like what we can afford or not, buying a nib, right? Doing a nib grind.
Yeah, that's the next level, I think. You make your pen more customizable and the way that you like to write. So,
and I would say that Ian's nibs are in a very different price point from a Monarch.
That's true.
I think you're looking at like $350 US and up. But as you just said, nib grinds. I totally changed my experience with my medium Pilot Decimo by getting a nib grind on it by Annabelle. I went from a pen that I hated, that I bought a whole new internal section for because of how much I disliked it. And then I ended up, getting the medium ground into something that has now become my daily driver. I have not used the broad nib since Chicago. I think nib grinds are great. There will be a whole nib grind video post Chicago because I got too many things done. But
you need to know. There is a comment about M800 or M600. I own Pelican, and I have to say that was one of the big questions before I got my M800. So I went and you tried. There is not much of a difference between the two, but for me, the circumference around the pen is important. So the M800 was my choice, and still a smaller nib compared to the biggest.
Yes. I'm a fan of the 600, but I'm
different
smaller pen.
But they are really, really similar on size.
And honestly, I think that was them trying to narrow down which I think William was trying to narrow down which Pelican they were talking about versus a Monarch. Because that is always there are a lot of pens in the pen world. There are a lot of different versions of Pelicans. Do you know what the 15 series is of a Pelican?
Do you mean 815 or 715? They also had 715.
Yeah.
Well, now they've got 215 and 415.
Oh.
Because they're bringing back the 15s. I had a whole lecture from Gary at Chicago about.
That's good. I need to go check more Pelicans. I used to have the Pelican twist, but then I had an issue with the feed, and then suddenly it was like not good.
Yeah.
The flow wasn't to my liking, so I ended up giving that away. But the Pelican M800 writes really well. I think I could go into Pelican steel nib if I could.
Yes, Deb, I know Annabelle made you a gorgeous architect because in your 20 questions, I believe you referenced that you're getting them done in 15 minutes or 53 minutes after our interview. You were going to get your architect done.
Very nice.
I would 100% recommend getting a Pilot Decimo ground or Vanishing Point ground. They are so much fun.
You can just buy the inserts.
Gold Spot sells the inserts and all the colors and all the nib sizes, including stub.
Very good.
They are great. I will be picking up a fine internal at some point so that I can get Kirk to turn it into an Esterbrook style mini stud.
Good. I have to say that customizing the names makes my life really happy. Like if I go and I say, oh, this pen is horrible, I don't like it, I tend not to use it, but then suddenly, wow, just a little bit of a tuning to the nib makes such a huge difference. That's the next level. All right, guys. Let me show you
the easiest way to fall back.
I lost you for a bit.
Yeah, you froze for a bit, Alexandra.
Claire is here. Hello, Claire.
Oh, sorry. My bad.
Hello. Yeah. Oh, hi, Claire.
So,
how's your arm doing?
Yeah, the arm, the surgery. Okay. Claire will write back. I will get a little bit into the promotion that I have for the show this weekend. I want to shout out for some of the makers that are going to be here, and then some of the brands that are sponsoring a little bit the event. So I have many, many things here on the desk, and I have a little bit more on the side, but I want to talk a little bit about the event first. Scarlett is a teacher here in Montreal. She's the organizer of the event. And Ajing is an artist from Toronto. Both of them are putting their heart and soul into organizing this event. Everybody behind the organization, and I will include myself as a volunteer for the event, is done for free. So people will get access to the entrance of the event. Vendors are kind of sponsoring lots of prizes and giveaways. Everybody will do things for free. So that means that workshops are for free, the entrance for free. We have a huge list of activities that are going to be happening during the show. The list of vendors is not too big. So we have some of the retailers here, the Toronto Pen Shop, Phaidon Pens from Toronto and Mississauga kind of area. And then from the US, we have representation. There is Esterbrook coming. Liz and Shannon are going to be, they will bring Esterbrook brand and Ferris Wheel Press. Loistrom Canada is going to be bringing notebooks, and Steelform is going to be part also of that table. We have pen makers, Timber Elegance. I have one of the the deep pens that he did. London Pen Co.
Yeah,
one too. I have Esterbrook here. There is Raphael Hardy. Raphael Hardy. He makes like wooden pen stand, but he's a nib grinder, so he will be grinding pens. Then there is the Toronto Pen Shop is coming with a nib grinder too. So I have I saw the publicity today and I was excited because they have.
Yeah, they're bringing salmon, aren't they?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Smooth and Talic.
Ah, okay.
Because he has those specialty nibs, so that's fun.
So much fun. And then there is a Jean in collaboration with a Waxwing Workshop, which is a leather company here in Montreal. Well, not in Montreal, but outside the Montreal area. They both collaborated and did journals. And then this leather maker is doing pen stands, key holders, like lots of stuff related to pen and notebooks. She's the one that also did this notebook cover, and she does all sorts of stuff. She does like bags and wallets, and she's a very, very talented artist. I am already excited about the event. I don't know how it's going to happen. Like we were talking about the Atlas Pen Show, I think it's going to be chaotic, but at the same time, family oriented. I guess it's like going to be what it is. Yeah. We will see, because it's the first time happening here, and I will have some news next time if we connect. I will try to do my best to film everything couple of workshops. I'm doing ink intuition challenge workshop, which is my source of art. I am going to play with inks. This is the ink that Penonia did for the event.
Nice. Is it nice and green or?
Yeah,
it's like a mossy green.
Mossy. This is the name of the show, Scriven Montreal 2025. The name of the ink is Mossy Stone Wall because that's the color of the stone wall at the venue. So they inspired the color by the color of the walls at the venue, which is a stone but full of little pieces of green moss. It's basically like a sage color more than moss. Is in between the two. I would say sage and moss. Who's saying the Scriven Show ink? Oh, the ink is really beautiful. I have, let me show you the sample that I have of two different ink tryouts. So this one, it's more like mixed with water. And this one is like a solid color in the middle. And then I kind of went with water on the side just to see. It has like a pink shading situation. And then it goes really bright green. So
it's darker than I thought it was.
Yeah. So I have writing samples. I don't remember in which notebook I wrote, but it is a dark green. So that's why I say it's a mix between moss and sage more than it's not like a light green. It's very, very beautiful. Kind of dusty green, I would say. But again, mixed with this pink, so it makes the green more elegant. It's not like a true green.
Okay, so there were some Pelican questions that we missed, and I've gone back to find. Why are Pelicans on sale at Atlas? I would say
that's a question I asked myself too.
That is a question I asked too. So I went to look at which ones were on sale. I would say Rose Quartz is probably on sale because it is now 2-3 years after when it came out.
Yeah.
And it's still sticking around. That doesn't happen a whole bunch with the pen of the year for M205. The other two, I have no idea. I find it really interesting that the new Toledo is already in last chance. I'm sort of wondering if it's an error because it's only been out for, I want to say 2 or 3 months.
Well, if you really want it to be limited and run.
Yeah, but discounting it 50% when it's only been out for 2 or 3 months makes me think that maybe it's an error. The white Sovereign, I feel like this pen bounces in and out of last chance. And it's just currently in last chance. And the Pelican Golden Lapis ink has been in last chance since like January. So not a surprise. Doesn't the 15 mean sailor? Or silver, not sailor. The 15 means it has bands up the pen.
Yeah, 05 was silver, I think, right?
Oh, yeah, 05 is silver. And then 15 are these like rings up the pen that are bands. And it's really cool. I saw one in person at the show. What else do we have in this lovely comment section?
There is...
yeah.
Sorry. There is a comment that says that Muse says, I didn't know that you were from Montreal. Yes, I am from the area of Montreal. I'm now outside Montreal, but yeah, I work in Montreal. And Claire says that I'm going to teach that technique to you. So let's connect.
And what nib size would we recommend for an M800?
So I have a medium. What is your experiences? You guys have...
yeah,
who else has 800?
Yeah.
Mediums?
kind of like a stabby medium.
Yeah. That's my experience too. I would, I like it, but if I had to do it all over again, I would go with fine.
Oh yeah?
And that's
medium.
I have to say that's where I'm leaning towards pens these days, is I'm getting fines and then I'm getting them ground into mini stubs. But I'm leaning that direction over a big broad nib because 90% of the time I'm not using fountain pen friendly paper.
Mm.
Oh,
and
okay.
Also, Pelican nibs tend to run pretty broad.
Yes.
So if you
correct.
like something smaller, get a fine. Or if you want a pen you can use every day, I'd probably get a fine.
My 400s have a medium too, and I find them to be slightly finer than the 800.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there is another comment about the Magna Carta and the Omas Flex. Both of those flex really, really well. If I have to go for the best flex, it will be the vintage Omas.
Yeah.
But Magna Carta, it's really juicy. I think Claire, who's connected today, have many Magna Carta. She can tell you.
Still have yet to try Magna Carta.
Yeah, the Scribo Feel or the Scribo brand, they have nice flex nibs. Santini, I like Santini flex.
We love them.
Good. Well, again, nothing compares to the vintage flex.
Yeah.
It's different, but yeah.
Exactly. And there are so many good vintage flex pens.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're somebody like Wendy, you harvest the vintage flex nibs and you put them in modern pens.
Mm-hmm.
And you crank some weird stuff together. Which I haven't done yet, but I still have 2 pens on my desk that's going to end up happening to.
Yeah. We like the new flex pens. I think it is different, but at the same time, they do better bodies now. Like before, like the vintage flex, for me, is too small, too thin, some of those ones. I really like the new design of the Omas. I really like the design of the body of the Magna Carta.
So I have tried the new Omas flex. Now that I know that's what we're talking about, I do like it. It's fun.
It's really nice.
My favorite new nib from Omas is still the triple broad. It is so much fun. It is still my favorite new Omas nib I've ever tried. And it's so amazing. I adore it. Someday I will convince Frank to actually move it out of prototyping and into an actual pen because I need it. It writes like you're writing with a Sharpie. So it's totally impractical. Could I ever use this pen on any paper? No. Does this pen bring me a great deal of joy anytime I've gone to use it? Yes.
What I'm happy, and this is completely random when you say that you use some paper that is not fountain pen friendly. I went the other day to this gift shop that sells Korean stickers and Korean kind of a stationery, super cute, super kawaii, and I found this notebook for $3. 3 Canadian means like $1.50 American, kind of.
Yeah.
So I don't know, let me put it closer. It's it says here fountain, well, I don't know, I put like the translator because it's written in Chinese. It's fountain pen friendly, and I did my pen test. Let me tell you, I went really hard on the size of the broad. It is fountain pen friendly.
Held up.
It's for 3 Canadian. Oh my god! And it has similar to the Midori kind of a
feel. Yeah.
Yeah. The little dot.
So Alexandra briefly displayed was it Claire's comment, and I kind of agree with her. I agree with her. I do like broader nibs too. I do not have a lot of fines, but yeah, I would get a fine on Pelican 1000.
Yeah. So I would say I love my broader nibs. I just, because I am notorious for using like printer paper and sticky notes.
Oh,
I don't, Kari, I know people, see, the issue is, Kari, I know brand reps that use their fountain pens on newspapers and napkins. And as soon as I found that out, like my level of prissiness with paper, which was already very low, went out the window. I was like, if he's using
I
a
don't judge.
$1,000 pen on a napkin,
Yeah.
why am I like, he's right. I can just like floss the tines if paper bits get into it. This is an easy fix. And so I decided to stop letting like whatever paper I had on hand control.
Exactly. You can write on it.
Exactly. The issue with that is broad nibs do not work particularly well on newspaper.
I agree with you. And they bleed in
people are having feelings about it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, I will go down to people's feelings once we finish this Claire discussion.
Now that you say that,
I just as much as I have the big broad things I like, currently I've got a Zoom nib, a music nib, and a course nib all inked up, and I adore them. The pens I've been writing with this week have been an Architect and mini stubs and mediums and fines.
Yeah.
Because they, especially an Architect in something like a fine or a medium, is just not going to bleed as much on paper, but it's still going to put down a really pretty amount of ink.
Yeah.
All right.
No, what I was going to say is that, and there is a comment actually now, it's when I'm correcting assignments, and students submit assignments on any paper, printed paper, anything, and I still correct with the fountain pen, and I don't mind. I still write with the fountain pen on it.
I have not. I've looked at it. I've linked it a whole bunch of times for 20 questions, but I've never actually tried it. I am a fan of Staples house brand printer paper that comes in boxes of like 1,000 or more than 1,000 that you like. the orange label stuff, I like that. And Post-it brand Post-it notes.
Yeah.
I'm aware, Deb, at the same time.
I am with her. Yeah.
Part of the issue is like, as soon as I discovered that like I knew people in the industry that were using their gold nib pens on newsprint and napkins, it was like, why am I being so stressed about this?
You shouldn't.
I just decided not to. Also, at the end of the day, they're a pen.
Yeah, but it's still not a roller bowl. Like, I'm sorry, roller bowls are different. Yeah. Like, they're gonna handle it differently than nibs. I mean, depends on the density of a napkin,
Yes.
Hey, there are some great napkins to write on. I would say that Kleenexes don't work particularly well. I have done it though. Kleenex bits annoying to get out of a pen though. Also, to answer if you were there Sunday morning at Chicago, you witnessed the Gillette family frantically looking for Endless Regalia pads for me because they didn't have them on display. They knew they brought them. They weren't on display. Nobody knew where they were. And then Bryce walking in victorious with 5 pads of paper above his head. So I have paper to last me a very long time, thankfully, because it is not currently available in Canada. And I have been using it for all my videos, and I am so grateful to finally have it again because I had finally finished what Kari brought me back in January from her show test pad. actually out of show test pads, and I was very sad at the thought that I was actually going to have to use different paper in videos, because really I've mostly used Endless Regalia for the past year.
Yeah, I like Endless. That paper is really nice. I have a pad all the time with me.
I have, so they didn't do those pads this year, but I have big pads, and I have their storyboard pads, which are spiral bound, and then I have their creative blocks, which are like glued pads, which are great.
Bailey is asking, Regalia is close to, and I would say Clairefontaine. So if you have Clairefontaine, you can get the same feel of the white paper, and Endless is white.
Yeah. And as Phantom Pendulum says, it reminds, so I would say it is, I find it less coated than the Pelican Hub paper. I don't like the Pelican Hub paper. I find it to be a really good mix of sort of MD and Tomoe River, where I get the fast dryingness of MD, but I get the nice sheening and shading that I get on Tomoe River, which is why I really like it in videos.
Yeah.
Question about the Pelican Hub. Do we yet know when it's going to be held?
No, and normally by this time we've at least, I feel like by this point we've at least
received the email,
had an announcement that a 2020 whatever year Pelican Hub is happening.
The event happens on November 22nd. So
September 22nd.
Oh, September 22nd. I thought it was November. September. No. Yeah, by this time, maybe a little bit more, June. You receive the email.
There are entire Reddit threads talking about the fact that they haven't talked about it yet, which sort of tells you where people are at. Because normally the end date for registration is middle of June.
Yeah.
So that's the big question, Deb, is that the company did sell middle of the summer last year. Pelican was sold.
Yeah.
There's been lots of talk, but as always, we aren't going to, much like we did with the whole tariff price increase, we aren't going to talk about it until, we actually know what's going on. I will say the Pelican Hub page still says the 2024 Pelican Hub. So do with that what you will.
Yeah. They might not want to continue with it. I don't know. Why wouldn't they? The only thing is, do they come up with like special ink every time for Pelican?
So no, it's the ink of the year that you just get a bottle of at the hub. So this year it's apricot.
Apricot, yeah. It's similar to the mandarin. I saw the samples, and I have the mandarin from years back, and it's very close. It's a little bit lighter.
Yeah, I saw it. I want to say I saw it in person at Chicago, and it's actually didn't seem that far off from Ferris Wheel Press buttered popcorn.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what it's actually like swatched out on other paper.
It's a little bit more orangey though.
Yeah. But it didn't look that far off from buttered popcorn. And I think if they have created sort of an acceptable buttered popcorn dupe color, people will be very excited, because that color does sort of have a cult following. Yes, I agree, Deb, that it has to be an expensive event for them to run. The question is, do they get better publicity from the event being run? And all of us attending, than the negative publicity that they will get if they cancel the event.
Yeah, no, I think it might not have to do, with the current market situation too.
That's the other thing. Like, companies, even if they're giving away product, have to pay import tariffs on them.
Yeah. Not to Canada. They already paid shipping. Yeah.
No, but it depends. Like, we don't have. We're not totally tariff free.
Yeah.
We have tariffs with some countries.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I will say Pelican's doing some cool stuff currently. I got to see some of the new limited edition stuff coming out. I have one of their new student pens on my desk. For everyone who was asking about the Pelican Jazz after that video a couple weeks ago, I learned why it was so hard to find in the States, and I also learned that they will be importing it into the States again, and so it is not a discontinued pen. They just stopped carrying it in the States, but they're going to be carrying it again. And there's some really fun new, I would say Pelican, the Japanese brands do great student pens. Other than the Japanese brands, like Pilot and Platinum. Well, Sailor doesn't really have a good student pen. Sailor's got great gold nib pens, but they don't have a good student grade pen.
They have some sort of
steel nibs.
Ish.
Well, they've got
that Fude nib. Wasn't that Sailor?
Oh,
the Fude, that's
and
Sailor.
they've got the Tuzu. They've got the new twisty grip one, which is super cool. But I would say outside of the Japanese brands, I think Pelican probably has the best student pens on the market right now.
Yeah.
Because you've got the twist, you've got the Inoho.
They have the student ones that you get when you're like third, fourth grade.
Yeah.
I have it somewhere.
They have so many entry levels to the top, so you can actually build up whatever the price you want to pay up to the.
Exactly. Their market is not only like higher end. That's the thing. Yeah.
But you know what happened is that in Europe they still write a school with fountain pens.
Yeah. Pelican makes them for German. In Germany you have to. In Finland you have to. Where I'm from, it's not obligatory, but you can choose, and I had to use them at some point too.
And I was on Applebaum 2 weeks ago talking with Tom of Tom Studios, and his kids' entire class, he's got them using fountain pens, which is not a requirement in the UK. But a year ago he got them using fountain pens. And they've got a policy of they'll replace the nibs. He's done a couple nib replacements for nibs that have gone broken, but those kids are using a fountain pen every single day. And I really think that is how we sort of both introduce pens to younger kids, but also potentially improve handwriting.
Yeah. I mean, cursive is a big thing in Europe. It's not something we don't do. We do it. All the time.
And writing, they have a different school writing system compared to America. Here you learn print letters before cursive, which is different. In my country we learn cursive before anything.
Yeah, same. Like I spent so much time just doing the little things.
There is a comment that says that you see lots of Lamy in Europe. Yes.
I believe Joost was introducing one of his daughter's classes to fountain pens, and he had ordered a whole bunch of Lamy pens for them. So
Lamy is huge. I didn't get a Lamy All-Star aluminum this year because they sold out here in Montreal. I always get mine at stilo.ca, and I went one day and they're like, "Oh, we sold out." And I like to buy in person, you know me.
So ask Nelmar to bring them from Toronto Pen Shop.
I am going to ask. And I do like to collect those.
Because I'm also about to date myself here. I was in the last grade in Ontario that learned cursive in schools. I was in the final year, and then I feel like recently they've brought it back post-COVID. But
Yeah, California, I don't know if it's everywhere, but my part of California, they brought it back, I think, this year or something like that.
Yeah,
too.
I feel like it was brought back last year potentially. And I would say I have this, anyone that sees my writing off camera will know that I have this crazy writing style where I will alternate printing in cursive words.
Mm-hmm.
I never consistently write in one or the other. There are always words that I prefer to write in cursive. There are always words I prefer to write in print. And it has always been that way.
Yeah. There is a person that says, oh, cursive is not taught again in school. It's not like here in Quebec, they don't teach the cursive. They start with a print. They go to cursive, and then the students decide if they want to continue in which.
See, in Ontario,
print.
In Ontario, they totally got rid of it in
I didn't know.
2010, I want to say. Cursive was removed from the course curriculum. And then it was brought back, I want to say last year.
They brought it back, but it's not like you have it like obligatory at the beginning in elementary school, but then after the students, they get to choose the font that they want to use.
Yeah.
So if they want to use cursive or the other. Anyways, somebody's asking, where are we from? I was born in South America, in Argentina, and then long time ago, I moved to Canada, and I'm Canadian from the province of Quebec, Montreal area.
Yeah, I usually don't really talk about where I'm from, but I'm in a general Northern Europe region. So that's where I'm from. At some point, maybe I will reveal. I feel like I want to. We're an internet, man.
Yeah.
We are. And you know,
citizen of the world.
Yeah.
Yes, I do this too. It's like logically I know how to write some of the letters in cursive, but like there are letters that I just don't enjoy writing in cursive.
I kind of feel like it's also like in my head, like because my parents write in the very different styles.
Yeah.
And I also speak many languages. And so for me, it's like a lot of things that just like smash together.
Yeah. Love languages. And I do love tango. Somebody says you must dance tango. Yes, I do. Dance is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, what else do we have? We talk about products. We talk about Nibs. We talk about Chicago. We talk about Montreal pen shows, new pen shows in New York.
Yeah. Is anybody in the chat going to any pen shows this summer and fall? Because there's a whole bunch coming up. I will also say I forgot to grab it, which is sad. I/mom, somebody at the show had boxes of $7 inks. And one, I bought too many inks.
That's a good price.
But two, I can find it. It's right here. As many people know, this was not originally my desk. This is my grandfather's office, which happens to be my office now. And 2 years ago now, I got Matthew Chen to fix one of Grandpa's nibs that he received as his master's gift. But for a long time, we've just had this bottle of ink sitting on the desk, which is a dried bottle of Schaefer ink. But it's got the little glass well, and I really liked it because it was ink that he used. We have no idea what pen he used with it because clearly he did not use his master's gift because the nib on it was bad from the factory. So I still have no idea what pen he actually used every day because I don't think he was using Albert's Waterman in celluloid because I was sitting on Grandma's desk. But we're looking at these $7 bins of ink, and Mom goes, "That's a bottle of Schaefer script."
Yeah.
And it was. and it happened to be a full bottle of the same color that Grandpa used every day at his desk. And it came home.
Awesome. Yay!
I I got to swatch it out like 2 days ago, and it made me so happy because I still don't know what pen he used. But now I've got a bottle of the ink that he used when he sat at this desk.
Yeah, I romanticize again about things that I get because I saw my dad using those, or like when you're writing, even when you're writing with fountain pens, you get to romanticize the fact that you're writing. I read a comment that Marcus says that he writes cursive in French and practice French writing. I think that writing in any language is fantastic. I am practicing now my Korean writing, which is crazy because I now need an extra fine nib. It's really hard to write in broad when you're writing Hangul. So,
and that's why they make such good extra fine nibs.
And ultra extra fine. I
have needle points. I have extra fine. So it's not like I'm missing.
But the platinum 3776 Century ultra extra fine, Kari, that you can only use with a lubricated ink. Otherwise, the pen starts to skip.
Oh no! All right, I am using I have a Pilot that I am using, which is a Pilot Justice. It's an extra fine, and the Justice, you can get it a little bit more a softer level, and so that's the one that I'm using for that handwriting practice. But now I'm like, okay, don't worry, I can use any pen, and then I'm writing a little bit bigger. But yeah, that's why I bought this graphic paper to practice and see how it goes.
I like this comment. If yes, part of my issue is that you people enable it by watching the Cola Ring Dipper videos. If they didn't get, if one of them hadn't gotten 160,000 views, I don't know that I'd still be filming every single swatch I made.
Yeah.
But
my ink obsession started with Deb, who's connected right now.
Yeah.
and I say to Deb, oh, I don't have many inks. I'm more into fountain pens, because at that time I was more into fountain pens than inks. And now I'm obsessed with inks. And yeah, I keep getting more and more and more.
And apparently I'm the one who got Alexandra into Mont Blanc inks.
So Marina, you're the queen.
I did. I also just did, I don't know if you guys seen my last one, the cold
comparison
blue.
Between two inks.
Yeah.
I like that.
I went for it. It's very interesting. I think weirdly I prefer the old one to the cold blue, but now I'm using it in one of my I think broader mediums. And I really like it.
I think this
the
is my
recommendation I
favorite.
have for Marcus. Marcus says about ink samples that they should be more available. If you buy empty vials and you go to a pen show, lots of people will share inks with you. So
even pen clubs you can find.
Pen clubs.
Or I do lots of mine through there's a Canadian Facebook swap page. And I swap blind ink samples there all the time. I have to say this is my current favorite Mont Blanc ink. It's the Renoir.
Oh, I love
that. Claire ended up bringing me in Chicago because she managed to.
I still need to continue working on my review for it, but I
it is
promising. I am working.
I have to say, I didn't think anything was going to beat how much I loved Midnight Blue. Midnight Blue has been in a pen for almost a year. But this is so pretty. Yes, I have a swatch of it for you lovely people that are asking. Question is, do I know a half? There we go.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. But that ink has a different feel in different papers too.
Yeah, and it's got this very interesting sort of yellowy sheen right in the middle, or shading right in the middle.
I see.
And so it is really interesting in various pen nibs because it does do something similar to Jane Austen, where it looks different on different papers. It's just not as pronounced as Jane Austen.
I like the purple though.
Yeah, no, they always do good purples. That's how I feel.
I love it.
See, I haven't liked their purples, which feels odd to say.
So wait, how do you like the Enzo Ferrari one?
Can I think I sent you a picture of my swatch. Did I not? No. I'm going to show you.
What color is that?
A swatch.
It's purple.
I'm going to show you two colors side by side.
Oh, okay. I like the color. It's similar to the Le Petit Prince.
Wait, which one is the other one? What the name?
One's Enzo. One's amethyst purple.
Amethyst. Okay.
You know, for me though, they come out differently when I write with them.
So that's the thing. They swatch the same. They look different, watered down. But when I swatched it, I was really disappointed because I've already got a bottle of this.
Yeah.
I like that. Might have liked the psychedelic purple if someone can send you a sample.
So I don't have psychedelic. I've got a sample of the cobalt violet, which I do really like. If somebody wants to sell their cobalt violet for a reasonable price, hit me up.
That is reasonable. I will buy it for this price. You need to say.
Currently I think I saw an eBay listing for like $300. I'm not paying $300 for a bottle of ink. But if you've got a part bottle that you don't want anymore, let me know. Because it's such a pretty purple.
I love purple. I'm a purple ink person. It's not like I like purple to wear purple.
No, I would say I wear very little purple. I wear a lot of navy blue, but
a purple shirt, a light lilac, but no. Ink.
I don't know if I should apologize or not, because pop pink is a fantastic color. It is my favorite pink. But also, I feel like Mont Blanc inks are sort of a rabbit hole because they feel really expensive, and then you do the price per milliliter and realize they're not that much more expensive than other inks.
Yeah.
Especially for their everyday inks. And then, you end up like me, who now has 10 Mont Blanc inks in her collection for no reason other than the fact that, they can go in her vintage pens.
Yeah.
But pop pink's super pretty.
I love it. Very nice. I don't have Caveco purple. I do have ink cartridges in Caveco purple, but I don't have the bottle, which maybe I should get.
So I really like the Caveco summer purple. I've got it. It's actually currently what's in here because I filmed the video with the mini converter, the foldable, put it down on my desk, promptly disappeared. And so now I'm just burning through my cartridge stash with this pen.
Yeah.
But I actually really like Caveco Summer Purple. I was surprised at how much I liked it.
I'm just looking at some comments.
I think I have that ink as well. Do I? No, I have Cosmo.
Oh, I like that. I have that pink. That's a good pink.
Yes, I did finally get a bottle of Yamabudo at Chicago after a year and a half.
My favorite pilot ink
of saying time. I need a bottle of it. I finally got a bottle.
Yeah. And Murasaki Shikibu, which is amazing purple.
Oh, Here's the worst thing. I don't like it.
Which one? The pop?
Pot pink.
I've never bought it because I thought the same for me, but
yeah, that's fair. It is a very pretty pink, but it does definitely fall into the like I'm looking to see what falls around it.
Yeah.
There's one of the Pilot Uroshizuku pinks that's been discontinued on top.
Oh, very nice.
Hot pink on the bottom. So it's not a super light pink, but it's definitely less in your face, I would say, which is what I like about it.
I mean, it is better than Lady Rose, but
yeah. Somebody's talking about Goose Poupon. Goose Poupon, it's a very beautiful shade of kind of grayish. We're shifting between purples and pink now to the kind of greenish.
You're making me go through all the swatches this evening.
Exactly. I do have that ink and I love it.
Here we go.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of a mix between yellow, brown, and green. It's really beautiful. I like that.
I have mine in with my yellow greens.
Yeah.
Lives here at the front.
Most green papier plume in New Orleans. It's a store. Their moss green is very close to
I have a sample.
Yeah. Very, very close. And I like that ink very much. I have that one. Vinta La Paz is also another color that is really similar between those two, Papier Plume and Ferris Wheel Press, Goose Poupon.
Yeah. All right.
More questions from anyone?
I don't know.
Other
There's a lot of ink discussion.
Yes.
Baby poop.
I would say the only good thing about the way Pilot discontinues colors versus how other brands discontinue colors is they only discontinue 3 colors at a time. And
that's sorry, like inside joke. I saw the baby poop comment. I was like, that's exactly how my dad refers to that color. But he says,
honestly,
he says it like I've bit more poetically.
I've never inked it up in a pen. I think my sample actually came from Kari. And honestly, I think I'm more likely to use Sailor Uri, which has
I like that.
To it.
Yeah.
Because it is sort of this like moody green brown, but it's got a pink undertone and I really like it.
It's a nice pen if you write with a fine nib. It's really nice. It's not like it would look like the swatch. The swatch has a complete different feeling that when you write with a pen. I think it's nice on the writing aspect.
I would get the Monarch. Get the Monarch. It's far more versatile. And you can find Pelicans on the secondhand market for less than retail. You don't see Ian's, Nibs, or Pen show up very often.
Yeah.
Or better yet, go try them out at the pen show, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And compare.
Yeah. But if you're trying to get in before the price increase, but also I don't know how much Ian's prices are going to go up. He has talked about the fact that there's going to be some sort of increase at some point, but they do all their work in-house in the States, in Philadelphia, and so it's very much a sort of waiting game.
I'm just saying, every single day I get like emails from small businesses saying, okay, we're going to increase 15%, like 20%.
I would say that the emails from Goldspot, which I seem to be getting every other day at this point, no longer surprise me. I was surprised that, Atlas put out the lists that didn't include percentages. They just went, here's the brands that are having a price increase, but we're not going to tell you how much. That felt odd to me, especially when there is such a huge range right now in what the price increases are going to be across the board, especially when, suddenly Visconti was on that list.
Yeah.
Like, are we talking about a 15% increase in a Visconti, or are we talking about a 35% increase in a Visconti? Because that's
a bit of a devil's advocate, but also kind of like the way businesses think is this is for your courtesy. They don't have value that will increase.
Yeah, exactly. So. And I would say for most of the price increases, first, I think Sailor was the biggest lead time we got.
Yeah.
Sailor, we got 2 weeks, but that was a 25% price increase across the board.
I feel like a lot of people knew was coming, Yeah. It was not quite a surprise.
It wasn't quite a surprise. I would say that the paper price increases are going to be more uncomfortable for people.
Yeah.
Especially when we start talking about the 30% on Rhodia.
Yeah.
And Rhodia is the only people that have gone public with how much their price increases.
Urban, Jack Urban.
Jerbon. They're both distributed by the same
Jack
company.
Urban.
they're both 30%.
Yeah.
And they gave us a huge amount of lead time because that price increase does not come into effect until, I believe, July 1st. So what they were saying is, if you are a person that knows that you like this paper, maybe stock up now.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. And I also sort of like the fact that Goldspot's giving 24 hours notice before some of, like, Karen Dash, some of the stuff I think went up 30% at midnight.
I have
they gave 24 hours notice. Like, hey, if you've got these products sitting in your cart, maybe it's time to press checkout.
I think it's a test also that we are consumers. We like new products. We like new inks. Maybe we could start shopping our stash a little bit more and start doing a little bit more mindful shopping, I guess, with all these prices. If we were going to start getting to see what are the prices and then decide if we want to purchase that price or not. All the shopping game will change, I guess.
Yeah, I would say I've definitely been more conscious about using up gift cards and store credit. If I've got store credit places, I'm looking at, what I've been interested in and maybe not purchasing the US or Canadian stuff at this moment, purchasing the stuff that is going to go up in price.
The two things for me personally is that make me excited, I guess, amidst all of that is I think we're likely to see a lot of interesting secondhand stuff, right?
Yeah.
It is the moment, I guess.
And the small makers.
Small makers, I agree. I like that. At the same time, I think when Deb says do it or get it, everybody will end up doing whatever they want to do. Just be mindful. I'm more into enjoying the things that you have instead of piling up new stuff. Get into the hobby to use the things that we get instead of just collecting aspect. I love to collect and I like to have lots of pens, but I think it will be nice shift if the prices go up is to see who is doing the hobby the way that we are supposed to do. Is it we're here in the hobby to buy or we're here in the hobby to write?
Yeah. This is a great question. And it's a combination of many things. For several weeks, people didn't increase prices. Some of this is annual increases we're seeing. So we're seeing annual increases plus the additional tariff fee, which is just making all these increases significantly higher. Normally when we head into June in any of the retailer catalogs, normally you see prices in effect until June 1st. We're heading into the time of year we expect to see price increases in the pen world. You see them January 1st, you see them June 1st. This amount of price increase is out of the ordinary because of tariffs, but also some of the businesses have been slapped with absolutely massive tariff bills. And across the board, it isn't just the US market that controls things. And I think that's important to remember here, because we're also talking about the manufacturer minimum retail price or manufacturer suggested retail price, MSRP. And that, for the most part, there will be some differences between countries. For the most part, it's pretty similar. And so we are seeing a fairly large price increase that is not just going to affect the US. Unfortunately, it's going to affect many other people. And I think that is also important to remember because there is quite a lot of fallout from this.
So far, I have some pocket money saved for my show this weekend. I want to get a Manser Co. Esterbrook.
Ooh.
I like that color. I like the feel, and I like the person that created it. So
it was, I have to say, it was a whole lot of fun to be at Chicago and I was kitty corner to Esterbrook, and getting to see them, like the lineup before the show floor opened. There were only 5 pens a day for Coffee Monster Co. The lineup before the show floor opened, the excitement when you got to tell somebody that there was a pen still left, that was so much fun.
Wow. Yeah, that's the pen I want to get. And I already reserved it. So, ooh, that's good. Anyways, I think I showed everything I have here. I'm excited about the weekend. We talk about inks.
We did.
Yes.
And so when are we going to meet again? And when can we hear?
I don't know. What's 2 weeks
Sorry.
from now?
Oh, let me check my phone.
I think 2 weeks from now. We're not meeting next week, but we're meeting the week after, right?
I believe we're meeting the 4th. I want to say.
Yeah.
And then we'll have one more show, I think, at the end of June.
Yes.
Yep.
So everybody, we're going to meet here June 4th.
June 4th.
Yep.
Yay.
And then small break and resume again in the fall.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
All right, guys, everybody.
All right. Thank you for staying with us here.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good evening.